Hey, it's Loui, your friend in home and hosting, and welcome to a new series I've been really looking forward to sharing. It's called Fellow Friends in Home and Hosting, and in this series, I'm sitting down with other designers and creators from around the world to talk about how we live, style, and share the space we call home. We're talking about more than just paint colors or furniture choices. These conversations are about how we really make a space feel like home. The rituals, the layouts, the little decisions that shape how we live day to day. Today, I'm joined by Anthony Immediato, one of my very first TikTok friends, and someone I've always admired for the way he brings warmth and intention into his space. He spent the past few years turning his charming one-bedroom apartment in Philadelphia, which he shares with his partner, into a calm, layered, beautiful lived-in home. In this chat, Anthony shares his journey into the home and lifestyle space, his clever approach to completely flipping the floor plan in his apartment to suit how they actually live, and gives advice on how to combine a range of styles and pieces in a way that feels cohesive and calm. He also shares his tips for hosting a beautiful dinner at home, including wine and cocktail recommendations, and we get into how to bring more soul into your space without needing a full renovation. So if you're into relaxed, thoughtful design and entertaining at home, or just want to make your place feel a bit more you, this one's for you. And while you're listening, definitely check out Anthony's Instagram at Anthony Immediato to see the space we're talking about. It's just as beautiful as you'd expect. Now let's get into today's episode. Hi, Anthony. Welcome to Friends in Home and Hosting.
Hello, thank you for having me.
We've known each other for a little while now. I feel like we go way back when on like the early days of TikTok.
When was it, like 2020?
I think so. Like 2020, 2021, we were both in that sort of space. Like the home space sort of hadn't developed yet. I feel like it was still very much more people dancing.
I feel like we were very early with the home stuff on TikTok way back when, for sure.
Yeah. And it was kind of like a different space at the time, wasn't it? It was like, how do we approach it? Do we do it like YouTube, you know?
I was doing a lot of, well, I don't think at the time I even had, like, I was in a studio with like popcorn ceiling, so I wasn't showing my space.
You're just hiding it.
There was a point I was just like grabbing things off of Pinterest and like be like, do your design like this, not that. It was a little rage baity, but you know, it worked at the time.
Literally. Yeah, for the growth. That's what you've got to do sometimes. And also I think it's important too, because a lot of people listening will resonate with that. And the fact that it's like, if you're not in your dream space, you're just constantly thinking about what you would do instead or where you would end up, you know? So I like to start the episode with a little nod to scent, because I feel like, you know, being fellow friends and home and hosting, we're all about setting the mood in our spaces. So do you have a candle burning today?
I do. It's the Trudon Sear scent, which is, we just recently learned how to pronounce it. But it's really nice. It's like a honey based. It really fills the room, and this is like quite a large room. So
yeah.
What do you burn?
Well, I'm currently burning something Australian because I thought it would be very fitting, you know, given that you're in Philadelphia and I'm here. So I'm actually burning the sassafras candle, which is from Sulong Yor, which is Troye Sivan's brand. It came out last year, but it's actually so interesting as well because you're speaking to honey, because obviously with us being in like other sides of the world, you're based in summer and I'm based in winter. So, you know, yours having that more sweet summer essence, and then mine is bringing out like the leathers, the wood, the ouds.
I feel like, but those, I always lean towards those like more masculine, like woody scents. Even in the summer, I'm like, oh, give me something like moody and just like
Literally, I'm obsessed with green scents. Like I love the Flamingo Estate candles, like the tomato leaf and like the olive tree. Like they're my obsession during summer, but then I kind of lean into those woody tones in winter just to try and bring out that like depth, because we don't get the snow or anything here. So,
I guess you don't. Yeah, when I lived in San Diego, that's when I started my like social media journey. There was never no snow, nothing like that. And actually, being on the East Coast, it feels better. Like I don't know. I guess you don't get to experience it, but like fall and then like fall set, like it just feels more like legit. Like when I was in there and I was like trying to burn like a pine scented, like, you know, like a Christmas scented one, but you look outside, it's like sunny in the palm tree. You're like, I don't know. That doesn't feel
literally. Right. It just leads me on to my question about like, where did the idea and passion for home come from?
Yeah, I think when I was like, I don't know, like 12, like younger, just like, I feel like any other, maybe not every other, but like a lot of gay boys, I feel like we watched like HGTV. And
Yes,
in my
totally.
home, I'm just in my home watching that, and I was just like, all those design. I was like, just loved how it like made me feel like I would binge watch like what was on at the time, like House Hunters.
Yes.
Even like just like getting into the space, like everyone's gonna know like Magnolia. You know what I mean? Like with like at one point that was like peak design and like just peak HGTV, and kind of just snowballed from there, which is weird because I was studying medicine. I was in pre-med.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was in pre. I took a biotechnology in high school, and then I was
Mm-hmm.
in medical diagnostics at University of Delaware, which I'm from Delaware.
Right.
Then like a semester, and I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't feel like I could do this forever and go to school for 12 years and then clock in and like not kind of like be artistic and expressive, if that makes sense. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I think a lot of the time, a lot of people go down those traditional routes because they feel the security in it. But then once you get in there, maybe it's just like not the right fit. And you get a bit older and a little bit wiser. And you're like, you know what? I can take that risk and do a bit of a jump.
Yeah,
I think it's because naturally you're problem solvers. So you're drawn
yeah,
to design in a way because design is also problem solving.
yeah.
Like that's where it
It
really
is.
comes from. I think it's the same as when you are in situations when you're designing a home. If you don't have much of a budget, your taste really develops because you're going through the challenges of how do we solve this? How do we make this work? Whereas sometimes if you have an endless budget, you're like, what do I do with this?
Yeah, it's
You
almost
know,
harder. You're like, I have so many options when it's endless. You know what I mean? And unless you're like really already like pinpointed exactly what you want and what you like then you're like, if you have endless options, it could just look a mess when you throw everything together. Did you have like a similar experience or?
I'm originally from the Hunter Valley, which is like a vineyard area in New South Wales, about 2 hours from Sydney. So from a really young age, like the restaurant started when I was 12. That's where I first started working, where I was serving tables. I would go with mum to the flower market to do the flowers in the weddings. I was making beds in the accommodation. So that
Right.
idea of like home and hosting really kind of came about through there.
Yeah. I think that's so fun that like it was a family kind of ordeal because my family is not. I mean, they're creative in a way, but like my mom by trade, like she's a paramedic and now she teaches it. My dad's retired, but he was in education. And I mean, his family was very like in the arts, I guess. Like my grandfather's behind me, actually. This is my grandfather and his great uncles with the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
That's what the picture is. They were an acrobat group and bakers, and then like my grandfather went on. So they were. It was the Three Little Bakers with the Three Stooges. I think that's why they wanted the picture. I don't know at the time like
Right.
what connections they had, but they. My grandfather ended up opening a dinner theater, Three Little Bakers, and
Okay.
but yeah, but growing up just in general, my parents specifically, like they was very like traditional medicine, education, whatever. But
Well, things trickle through. Like my parents are both sort of left of center of their siblings. They aren't like my aunties and uncles. So it's interesting how like through generations, their like the creativity and the design aspect can just like pop up earlier. So yeah,
yeah,
but it's weird to think that now I'm working in a space that's like the same but different.
yeah, no, 100%. I was in restaurants for like 6 years. There was a point where I thought I was like gonna open one, which I guess I learned a lot. I was like, I'm gonna do this, and then I switched. Actually, I got into like when I was 20, I started working at Pottery Barn in Delaware, and then when I moved to San Diego, I transferred to West Elm because of the same
The Williams Sonoma
under
company.
Williams
Yep.
Sonoma.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's kind of. And then once in West Elm, I was like, suddenly I was making more money just doing like online stuff.
So obviously, both of us have moved away from our hometown. So we've gone through a lot of rentals, and we
Yes,
know how to decorate a rental. And
yes.
I love the one you're in now. It's
This yeah,
so
yeah.
beautiful.
Thank
Yeah, the architecture, it's amazing.
I do. This is what I love about the East Coast because I when I was in San Diego I was in a like a 40 floor building, brand new. I was the first. We were the first ones in the unit, and it was beautiful and maybe sometimes more functional. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Like there's a
The heating
comfort.
and cooling.
There's such a comfort in it. Like, but I did miss like the just the character the East Coast brought. I mean, Southern California like does have a lot of character if you I guess go to the right spots. Like LA, I think has a little more than San Diego, in my opinion. Like all the like in
Yeah.
Hollywood, all the 50s like Spanish style. I love.
Yeah.
It's also like kind of did like a 360 in my style moving back to the East Coast. It was a little more, I want to say like airier, like more coastally when I was out there. But now I feel like it's a little darker and moodier, which I think is what I'm actually drawn to more. So few pieces that like really say something. Like you have to get some unique pieces. If you just throw in like just like plain stuff into a plain room, it's not really gonna it might be nice, but it's not gonna like talk to you. You know what I mean? It's not really gonna tell your
Yeah.
story, I feel like, which I think is important. I mean, at least it's important for like us because we're always home.
Yeah, no,
Like
literally.
this is like live and work for us. You know?
What do you feel like were the small choices that really made it feel like home?
We feel like just you want to bring in at least a few personal pieces, whether that be like art or decor. Like, don't just like, like, oh, I want this is nice, this is nice, this is nice. Or I saw this, I like this. Like, go source things, find things like in your travels. Like, bring in personal art. Like behind me is like a really personal family piece. I've made some art in here. I found vintage art. Get something that's a little more unique that you're not going to find in other people's house, I guess. Like you're not going to walk into like a friend's house and like, oh, I have the same vase. Like again, obviously, if you like something that's new, buy it. I have new things. A lot of my furniture is new, actually. I just think it's easier to incorporate like smaller vintage pieces when you can. And I think it's probably more, what's the word? Like more relatable.
That's the reason why people can utilize things like Facebook Marketplace. I always tell my friends that they should use Facebook Marketplace like they would any other social media, like Pinterest. You should go through and you should type in brands that you love, and you can even bookmark pieces that you like, and then it will start recommending pieces that you enjoy.
Yeah, because like my Facebook Marketplace literally looks like a vintage store now.
Yeah.
When I'm in a different city, I'm always like, let me go find like just a little thrift shop, a vintage shop. And it's usually on like cities around here, if it's not a major city, they're so cheap and there's so much like treasures, like just dig through and dig through. And like I said, it's just more reasonable to like be like, oh, I got this like vintage vase for $30 versus the Danish sideboard for 4,000. Yeah. And I think that does help make it feel more just unique and personable and more just like your home and not just a home.
Yeah, and it's a great space where you can pick up things that are coming into trend early days because there's, trends have a long cycle. So if you have a good eye, you can pick up something that's before it's hit CB2, you could find the original and have it in your home beforehand, which is great if you're in social media and home because you can find things like, for instance, like plinths or Murano glass or like walnut. There have been trends that we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years, but you could pick them up secondhand prior to them ending up in bigger chain stores, and 100%. You can set the tone, which is really good. So I wanted to talk to you more about your current place and the fact that you moved in and then you had the layout. So you had your living room, your dining room, and your bedroom, and then you switched the floor plan out entirely.
It was it took some convincing with my partner. He was not. I was like, no, I'm just gonna do it. I was like,
I'm gonna do it, but you need to help me.
We're gonna move back. Yeah, the worst part was like the bed's £1 million. The everything's so heavy and like it's tight around like to get to like
the doors.
Yes.
Yeah. It looks amazing. Like I was like, there's those windows that I've been seeing. Because there was a period of time where you were showing the living room, which I didn't know. So then when I saw, like, then when you moved it back, I was like, there's that space. Like, there's those windows that I've been like longing for.
It was like never showing the bedroom just because it was just so, well, it was usually a mess, to be honest. It was like, I threw everything in to like film where like the living room, I'm sitting where the living room was, but this is the dining space now.
Yeah.
So when you walk in, the door is like right next to this like sideboard, and you do walk into the bed, which is it ideal? No, but like who cares? Like the people that I have over, it's just us, and like the people that come over are like my friends. And this is so much more functional to me, I think, because the kitchen's right in front of me, and so now I have this honestly could probably seat like 8 people comfortably. This table, it's huge, and for a 1-bedroom apartment, that's like a big deal. And I have it on this like 9x12 rug now, which you guys will see shortly through a brand. And I don't know, I think it's just so much more functional. I did get a little room divider, a vintage one off Marketplace.
Yeah, actually. I saw that yesterday.
Oh, that little like you saw like on the story, right?
Yeah, little bit of beautiful.
It is. It's like so patinaed, and I don't really know much about it. I wish I did. He was like a guy. He sells stuff, and I thought it was a good deal.
It's always the way. It's like just a guy that sells stuff, and I found that it's incredible. Like it's it's like the lamp behind me, the standing lamp I have. Everyone's like, "Where's that standing lamp from?" And I'm like, "It's from a random person. Right. It's a lamp from Fiji, and I had to get the electrical redone. Like, I get it was $60. Like, it's always the way. The really iconic stuff ends up being like the most random stories.
Like literally, everyone asks where the wall hanging, the tapestry is too from, and I'm like, I stumbled into a little like messy like shop that just had art and books thrown everywhere. They always ask where that's from. I'm like, literally, it was the messiest like shop that like it was all folded and like water damaged. And I'm like unfolding this big like canvas. I'm like, what is this? What is this? I'm like, Isaac, I have to buy this. I'm like, you're never gonna find something like this, like ever.
Yeah, I know. I really want a tapestry in my hallway and I just cannot find one. It's just, yeah, so that was lucky.
That was a lucky find. The art itself, it's some like French painting. I don't know. There's no signature, so I don't know if it was the artist's like one of the artist's drafts, like a remake. I have no idea. But I mean, like, I don't think it's worth trying to sell or anything. I don't think it's worth that much. But then you're never gonna find something like that. But back to yeah, so this I think this the room divider actually really helps because like I can still see the bed a bit, but like now it really feels like okay, this is the dining space. That's the living space, or not living, the sleeping area, and then you go around the corner into that room, which is now the living room, which I really like it. You don't see the kitchen. When you have people over, you go from like, here's the dining table. Now let's all like move and like now let's go enjoy like our cocktails in this like separate room. It has a fireplace, the bay window. And I think it's more functional. Honestly, I think I'm spending more time in like different areas of the home because before I never like I went to the bedroom and that was it. And now,
Yeah. And
like, okay, the bed's out here. I sit at the table to eat, to work, like admin work, and then like lounging around, I'm in there, you know?
yeah, well, it sounds like it really works. Like I can imagine a lot of people when they first thought of it, they were like, "Oh, is this one of those Pinterest versus reality moments? Like,
Yeah,
does it look amazing on camera, but it doesn't work in real life?" But it really sounds like you're taking full advantage of the whole space, which is great.
it is. It's a little tight. I mean, it's like 800 square feet in here, so it's not the worst one bedroom for two people. Obviously, eventually, I'm gonna want more space, but for now, I think it's actually made me think, okay, I could probably stay here longer now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like there's been a huge shift as well. Like when you were speaking about moving into different spaces as well, I feel like we're all kind of wanting to step away from that open plan living idea and
Yeah.
moving back into having rooms that have like designated zones.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's just that separate room. Yeah, it just makes it feel. Yeah, I don't like looking at everything at once. I really like. I really don't. I like each space to kind of have its moment. And for content reasons, I think that room like really resonates more with people. Like people, I think that people enjoy seeing that more. Well, even you were saying you like, going to see those windows.
It's because it feels and looks like a living room. Because this is the thing about when you're doing content, like people's they have a mental floor plan, but it might
Yeah,
actually be the floor plan. The main bedroom in this house was now like the dining room. So you can see that we've both really played with the layouts and trying to
yeah,
make it work better for our lifestyle, which I think is something
yeah,
people should do. Yeah. So just like circling back, I guess, like with, like I was saying earlier, there's just this sense of like calm that comes from your space. And you've spoken a little bit about minimalism isn't about less, it's about meaning. So what does that look like in your space? And like, how do you edit? Because a lot of people would have a lot of stuff and they want to, cleanse it a little bit and make it feel a little bit less cluttered.
yeah.
What would be your advice?
I think the funny thing is that as I evolved in this space, I was like, am I almost like turning into a maximalist? I was like, I have like five accent chairs in that living room. I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, people
Yeah.
they're like, you have enough chairs? I was like, you can never have enough chairs.
No, you can have it. No, no.
Um, but I don't know. I do think it kind of that boils like that comes down to again finding like meaningful pieces rather than just like over consuming, over consuming. Like you don't have to hop on every trend. You
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I know it's being fed to you. Like it's being fed to
Mm.
me, it's being fed to you, it's being fed to just people who are scrolling on TikTok and like home content. So I'm like, you don't have to hop on all the trends. You don't have to be on, like TikTok shop and purchasing all of that. Just
Yeah.
find pieces. Yeah, again, find pieces that mean something to you. And I think once you get your style down and you can just really evolve around that. And what's that one show on Netflix, the Marie Kondo? Like if you like look at something,
Yeah.
you like it doesn't like you like there's nothing there for it. Like I don't feel anything for it. Just get rid of it. Which
Yeah.
I think is good advice for like again, this is a one bedroom and just I have been getting rid of a lot of stuff and it just feels so good because it's like it was getting cluttered and cluttered. But yeah, just I think obviously you have to keep some like whatever works for you though. If you need that air fryer on your counter, fine. I don't know. Not me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Would you say, so obviously transitioning into a different style where you do feel a little bit more maximalist, what would you say is your style right now?
I don't know what to call it. I always just say I was like it's collected. It's lived in.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
Collected lived in,
You're like,
and
I don't want to say eclectic because everyone's like, like everyone was overusing the word eclectic like last
right, like
year.
where my head goes with eclectic is not what like I see for MySpace, but it's just
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I say like collect it. I call it collect. It's no, it's not really like organic modern like it might have been in California. It's not really traditional. I have a lot of like European mid-century influence in here. I have some new pieces, like simple pieces. I have some like you could consider some of my decor like very like Parisian and like French countryside, but I think they all kind of mesh together well.
I think a lot of people have that where they want to mix different styles. Would
Yeah.
you say, like, in my mind, when I think of your space like that, I feel like you've done that really well through repeating textures and colors
Yeah.
and materials.
Yeah, people are probably sick of seeing the brown in my house,
No,
but
but I
lots
think
of
it's good
brown
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do love to like I'm not a huge pattern person, but I do love like a texture. So like a lot of linen, I have a lot of like bigger weaves or like a boucle of some sort, like the new chairs are boucle, I think. Velvets. I think you could tell a lot of story with texture.
Yeah.
And like a lot like all like the rattan chairs, like it's not necessarily like, oh, this is so bold, but you're like, oh, like every time I look at something, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. You know what I mean? So it's I think that's how I kind of translate, I don't know, how I make it look like kind of warm and inviting, but also not like kitschy, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I think it's a really good tip in terms of like for people discovering their style. It's like I hear like, a lot of natural textures. Like it's very similar to what I say and resonate with, and that natural textures, mixing similar tones, it really works. And I like the fact that like why I love catching up with different people is because we do have different styles. Like you said, yours is more collected, whereas my approach has been I have an old shell, and so I was like, I don't really want to go down the Victorian route.
Right.
Just because there isn't a lot of Victorian furniture here in Australia. So, and I could have mixed it and made it a little bit more collective, but it would have been harder to achieve. So I decided, well, instead I'm going to do a focus on like Australian contemporary design. And I was like, let's do old shell with new furniture. And it's actually been really good in the fact that I set that rule hard and fast really early on. And I feel like it's really pulled the space together, especially when you have a lot of rooms to work with. But I think what's great is chatting with both of us and hearing both of our insights is you can do different approaches and it can work. So like yours has been mixing in different eras like mid-century modern with contemporary, but focus on those textures and colors.
Yeah.
And it can really pull it together for people who want to like delve into different styles and mixing it. Whereas in my circumstance, it's been, well, let's do a different rule where it's like the shell is this and then the furniture is this. Like it's good. Like, yeah.
No, I like a lot of your stuff is like really sculptural. So I think that for me, when it's like so interesting to look at, like even like behind like the lamp and the sofa, I'm just like, it's like obviously like a white wall behind it, but like that's just your architecture of your home is amazing. So that's a lot, I think. But just like looking at it, I'm like, it's so fun. And other people might see like a couch and a lamp, but I'm like, no, like you don't get it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's sort of about being more like intentional with the pieces and like being again, highlighting that Australian design, I guess, has been important. Like Elliston Studios behind me is an iconic, like fairly new brand in Australia when it comes to furniture, but it's made such a strong impact in Australia and across the globe in the States as well, in Europe. But then like teaming up with other brands like Globe West and McMullen and Co. and just highlighting those pieces because I have a global audience and I think it's nice to highlight, brands that are from the other side of the world. People are like, what? It's cool.
100%. I think it's fun.
Yeah. Well, we could speed on to the speed round for home and hosting, which is just a little bit of fun to find out your opinion of things because everybody loves trends and focusing on what to do and what not to do. And I always love chatting with other people about what they think. So the first one that I've got here is structured or relaxed bedding.
Oh, I would say relaxed.
Yeah.
For me.
I feel like that sort of like bed cover style is so cool.
You're so meticulous with your bedding.
Well, look, I'm an OG bed stylist. Do you know what I mean? I was making beds in the cabins. I was doing the crisp Kale sheets. Like it was all happening. We was steaming. And then I'd worked with the bed linen brand called Adair's and I was doing the back of pack. So, but don't get me wrong. I love a good relaxed look. Like it's at my mum's place out in the Hunter. It's a lot more chill. So we do like oversized linen and it's all crimpled and stuff. But
which is love that, especially now that like when you walk in, it's my bed. I'm like, I don't want to like draw attention, like too much attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to look nice, and then we're gonna keep it moving.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So
definitely.
not many cushions. No.
Just switch it up. It's been the same for so long. I'm like over it. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I try and do it seasonally just to try and make it easier for me. I'm like, what are we
Yeah.
going to do for this?
Yeah.
Okay. So book styling. I thought I would love to get your opinion on this one. It's kind of an oldie but a goodie because I think some people go through this where are we doing the spine out or spine in?
We'll do spine out unless like I have books I got from like thrift stores. This is not very speedy of me, but I got a book I got from thrift stores and like the names are like random. It's like an atlas, but it's like leather bound.
Yeah.
So those I will turn like this. I'll hide the spine and just do the pages
and have the pages. Yeah.
Like any like artsy book or like some like an interior designer's like coffee table book. I'll show the spine.
Yeah. Depending on whether or not it's the Tom Ford one or not. And maybe you'll put the pages facing because that book is done
I've never owned the Tom Ford book.
that is like the Amazon Final Boss coffee table book.
Right.
You know what I mean? But bless, I love Tom Ford. We share the same birthday. We're both Virgos. So, yeah.
Where do you do books out or in?
I don't even have any books like up vertically, to be honest with you. Like they're all laying flat on all the consoles. So they're all spine out, but then I do make sure that they're all like contextual. Like I've got a couple of cookbooks near me right now, which are right near the kitchen. Like I wouldn't put a cookbook out in the dining room,
Yeah.
So next one is like a quick scent one, which is oud or amber.
Let's say oud.
Yeah.
For
Something a
me.
bit moody.
Yeah.
I think amber is really good if you want something that's sophisticated sweet. Like if people who always want like scents that kind of smell like lollies or like candy, I'm like, come on, we've got to move into the amber scents. Like that's how you can get them into that more sophisticated palette.
Yeah, I agree.
And then with styling, are we set on the rule of threes or can we mix it up? Can we do even or does it always have to be in threes, fives?
I feel like you can mix it up. There's no rules.
Same.
I mean, you just what it feels right. Like it doesn't have to be symmetrical.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like you got to, as long as you're aware of the rules, you got to learn the rules and then break them. I don't think we break and then learn later.
Yeah, like when you're just starting, I think that's like a great like just like reference, so it doesn't look like like weird, but unbalanced. I should say. But yeah, I think switch it up, do what you want. It's like try different things, see what it feels like.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. And so. Speaking of books, are you a coffee table book type or are you a magazine type on a coffee table?
I think coffee table book.
I feel like I'm moving more into magazines. I know it's random, but I think it's about like I was trying to think of ways to like live in the moment more. And so I was like, oh, flowers, they only last a week. So it like makes me feel more present. And then magazines, they're only like relevant for like the 1 month to 3 months that they're out. So I was like, magazine, but they've got to be a good magazine.
True. I do like your floral arrangements. I feel like I never get flowers. But you know what? Do you have a cat? You don't have a cat.
No, I don't. So I have a dog. So they don't get up in
flowers are toxic for cats.
I know.
Put him out like he's always just right on top of it. I'm like, well. So, but I don't really do a lot of fake florals. Like they'd have to be really good.
Oh.
Like,
don't do the fake flowers at all. Because I think that's the thing. It kind of defeats the purpose of it being about things that are temporary. You know what I mean? Like I think it's the same with like lighting a candle. It's like you get the scent of the candle now, but then it disappears when you're finished with it. So it's like I think it's just like about doing those intentional things around the home that feel a bit more. It centers you at home and what you're doing.
I agree. And I do have magazines, but the magazines I have, which I don't really I had them out for a while. I got these vintage Esquire magazines.
Cool.
Like it's like the men's. It's like an old men's. I guess they still do it, right? Yeah. But like I got like from like the 1950s, and they were like so much bigger than like a magazine now. They're like this long. It was so interesting to just like go through them. They're kind of falling apart, but like I got the black cover and the brown cover. Of course.
It's like, but old magazines and old matchboxes are really cool. They always make, and like also vintage or like I got some like I use what is the word I got like vintage ashtrays off Etsy, champagne ones like from France and stuff like that, but I use them when I do incense. So I put like an Aesop incense on the ashtray and then it ashes into the vintage ashtray rather than like a long I don't know, I just think it's cooler. Like that's what I love to have on my coffee table.
I do. Have you seen those, which I really want to find a good one, like the vintage ashtrays but the ones that are on like a stand?
Yeah, no, they are really cool.
I want one of those as like a drink table, like next to myself, because I don't smoke.
Yeah,
and if I did, I wouldn't smoke in my house.
No, same.
So but like they're just so cool, and like a tiny drink table. I can replace the little one I have next to my sofa with it. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah,
unexpected, you know what I mean? But like, super cool.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the side table, hosting style. Are we doing wine? Are we serving cocktail?
Yes. So I think
You're both.
wine typically. Well,
Yeah.
for real. Which is weird. I just had a dinner party yesterday. I was like shooting for a campaign and they gave me like some dinnerware and some stuff for the dining area. So I was like, okay, and I'll have some friends over to show off the plates and which
You need
I
the
did.
hands, the hand action. It's
Right.
always a tough one when it's just you.
But so they came over to help with that, and I had bought I was very meticulous because it was for a campaign. So I made I made everything from scratch. It was very Italian. It was like Caesar salad, marinated olives, whipped burrata, and then it was like chicken piccata and what did I serve? Like a shrimp pasta, and then I made like tiramisu. So it was all very planned out. Which I think when I do host, I do like to like kind of just like have it like beautifully
Ready.
set, like dim the lights, like taper candles lit, like the record player playing jazz. And then, but wine and cocktails is the answer. I think we went through like 8 bottles of wine the other day.
Wow.
It was 7 of
Okay,
them.
no, that's good. Yeah, there's
There-
7 of you. That's like one. Like, yeah, that's good. Sorry, that was dramatic. I was like, wow.
I was looking
Yeah.
at like the 8 bottles. I was like, guys, I sent a picture to like a group chat. I was like, ooh, that was rough, guys.
Yeah, no, we had
Mind you,
we had a good
some
time.
gin. We had some gin too. Like you just have to. But like,
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, what? Like, so what's the cocktail choice and what's the wine choice? Like, what are we serving when we have people?
okay.
Like,
Cocktail choice. It's usually just martinis, gin martinis.
classic.
Which I love. And then
like Christiana, where you have no vermouth and it's just a cold glass of vodka.
So
or gin.
I like Bombay Sapphire, which is like behind me, but I used to do dirty, like with the olive juice, and a little bit of vermouth, but I've kind of moved towards just like with a twist.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, it's summer. You need a bit of citrus.
Well, yeah,
in
and I'm
there.
kinda, like,
Maybe
over
in winter you'll move over to the olives again.
Exactly. I don't know. Maybe I do love like a blue cheese stuffed olive. Like, I love a savory drink, like a Bloody Mary. But I won't be making my own Bloody Mary. I don't think that's like a lot. But
That's a lot. Yeah.
yeah. And then wine, I usually gravitate towards red.
Yeah.
I love a dry red. I love an Italian red personally.
Yeah,
But,
I was waiting for that. I was waiting. It was going to be an Italian red. I was like, is it a Chianti? Is it a Sangiovese? Is it?
I love a Chianti. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
I'm very. That's in my roots, I guess. All the
No, that's
Italian
good.
stuff.
I'm sure lots of people are going to resonate with that. Which, speaking of, where can people find you? I'm obviously put you in the introduction here where people can check out all your content while we're chatting today.
I'm on Instagram and TikTok, same handle. It's just at Anthony Immediato on both
Amazing.
platforms. I don't really do YouTube or anything, but yeah, mostly Instagram and TikTok. And recently more, just like I like Instagram more recently.
Yeah, same. I agree with you. I'm finding
Really?
Instagram. Originally, TikTok was the space, but then now I feel like it goes through different seasons. Like at the moment, TikTok's kind of going through more hot takes, virality. It's very similar to the old Twitter, whereas Instagram's kind of remained. I feel like we've all kind of come back to Instagram being like, you know what? You are the OG. We do kind of love you. I think it's really cottoned on to video now, whereas before audiences probably weren't as accustomed to video format, whereas I think they're really comfortable with it now. So it's just like propelled more because people get it,
Yeah, 100%. I'd say when they first did Reels, everyone was like, "This is not like why are we trying to be TikTok and blah blah blah." But now I have to post Reels. I feel like that's the only thing that literally does well.
Oh, yeah, same. Yeah, Reels and carousels. Like, you should just give carousels a go.
I think every time, what my new rule should be, it's like every time I post a video, even if I take screenshots of the video, and just do a carousel too, and then maybe eventually, because you do have to train your algorithm, and if you're not posting a lot of carousels, I feel like it's not gonna show it. But if you start consistent,
yeah, and you get the opportunity where people will see it again because obviously if they swipe past the first photo, that'll show the second one later on in the feed. So I like to finish up the podcast with just like a question that came from a previous guest.
Okay.
This week's question for you is, what's one trend in interiors, content, or life that you're happy to leave behind?
Like that I want. Okay. Well, I was thinking, but there's I could say I don't know, a lot of things, but then I wrote one down because I was like, I think. Do you know it's gonna be interior? Do you know the trend? I don't know, is it a trend? But do you see those accounts, which I do follow some of them. I like these people. I'm not gonna name names, but they'll have their Legos out and the lights behind the TVs.
Yep.
I don't know how to explain. Like they'll do their little like Lego cars like that, and that'll be on like their shelf, and I'm like, okay. And then like the light strips behind the TVs, and that's just not for me. I would love would love to leave that behind, but to each their own. Like I said, it's their homes, but I'm just like when I see that, I'm like. And people go crazy for it. People love it. I'm like,
I know. It is interesting. I think it should just be left to just warm white only. If we're gonna do a like strip light behind a TV or underneath like a bathroom counter or something when it like that, I don't think we should go into the colors.
I was gonna say like change with the TV. I'm like,
change with the movie. Yeah, look. I guess it just depends, isn't it? Like, is it about? I guess for them that those times, maybe it's not about the aesthetics and it's all about that. But I don't think I'd be able to get into it when I'm watching the movie. To be honest,
I don't even have a TV anymore.
Oh, wow.
Well, I got because it used to be behind me where this picture is whatever. It was nice to have one because before that I have a projector that I can plug in and like
right.
Has to be dark. So it's not And then the TV kind of recently broke, but we were literally putting it behind the couch and like taking it out. It was a big TV. It was like 55 inches.
Yeah,
it just didn't work. It didn't work in the news space. But I want one of those, like the ones like on a stick that like swivel.
Yes.
Like it's small. But that way I can take it out there. If I want to watch TV in bed, I can just move it. Very mobile, and like that's what I would like.
Yeah, and like people can put them on wheels, and I've seen that. Yeah, I've also seen people put it on like an easel, which can look cool, but I think that was a phase as well, like 2021.
I did that. I did that in California once. I just literally bought an easel and threw a TV on it. Which in hindsight, I was like, I don't know if I love that idea anymore. Unless it's like a vintage. What do you mean?
Yeah. Like it's interesting how like we go through things and we do them and then we're over them, whereas to other people we're probably just sparked a great idea for them.
No, I know. I like look back at my old content. I'm like, no. Like what was I thinking? Like
no, like I think that's a part of the journey. And honestly, it's like we all go through different phases. So it's fine.
100%.
I get the submissions of people's bedrooms and I see the phase that they're at, whether they're in the boho phase or the interior millennial plant hoarder phase or, like the boucle phase.
Yeah, people don't play about their plants. They love their plants.
No, they don't. It's like a cult. It's an unspoken cult.
I have this one. I just got this like ficus thing that I haven't really even planted in this big vase yet. That's enough for me. I'm good with that. Like, it's a little fun. It's like sculptural, has big leaves, but like I'm not a big like plants everywhere. It's like, is it not humid? It doesn't get like muggy in your room from that?
I don't know.
Bugs. I don't like it.
Well, Anthony, thank you so much for joining me today on Fellow Friends in Home and Hosting. It's been amazing to catch up with you. And I think everybody has had a huge lesson in how to develop their style and make their space feel more like home.
I hope so. But thank you for having me. This was really great. Great to connect. Should do it again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's it for today's episode of Fellow Friends in Home and Hosting. A huge thank you again to Anthony. Make sure you go and check out his beautiful space over on Instagram and TikTok at Anthony Immediato. If you enjoyed this chat, I'd love if you could leave a quick review, share it with a friend, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And if you're after more from me, you can always find more stuff from your friend in Home and Hosting over on Instagram and TikTok at Loui Burke. That's Louis with no S and Burke with no O. I've also got my LTK and Amazon storefronts linked there so you can shop all my favorite pieces throughout my home, plus my journal with design tips and styling stories at louisburkedesign.com/journal. Thank you again for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.